The Arizona Cardinals should absolutely not trade for Micah Parsons or Terry McLaurin. They could, but they shouldn't. Stop it. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Locked On Cardinals, Alex Clancy. Follow me on Twitter, Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast, Locked On AZ Cards. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen. Free wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every damn day. Please go to the YouTube channel. Search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button, man. 15 years in sports media in Phoenix. 9th season hosting this lovely show. And I am jacked up. The Arizona Cardinals should absolutely not trade for Micah Parsons. They should absolutely not trade for Terry McLaurin. I'm going to explain why, but I'm going to explain why they could, and that's the silver lining here. So we were just gifted this. We could talk about light pads from yesterday, things are status quo, which is a good thing. It's like, you've got your kids at home with a babysitter, with your mom that you trust. It's like, all right, well, carry on. We're going to go dance the night away to live in La Vida Loca or whatever. So that's kind of where we are with the Cardinals in camp. So the Arizona Cardinals and Marv dealing with a little bit of a knee. He sat out practice, but said it's not a big deal, precautionary. That's really the only note. Something obviously to monitor, but nothing really else out of camp. So Micah Parsons is now upset. He, according to Diana Rossini this morning, he could potentially request a trade. So they're not even in the building yet for requesting a trade. I'll discuss what the upside would be, but why they shouldn't in the second segment. Terry McLaurin in the third, it's a little bit easier of a no for me. Even though it makes more sense, it's an even easier no for me. But let's just take a second here. When I talk about the shift that this organization has made over the last 36 months or so, you're starting to see the benefits of it kind of tangentially on the outside where it doesn't really matter, but it matters when you're not on those lists. Okay, let me explain what I mean. The Arizona Cardinals have been on the short list to land a chunk of free agents this offseason. That, quite literally, I hate when people say, oh, I literally could eat a mountain right now. Stop it. Be an adult. Quite literally, the Arizona Cardinals were never tied to upper echelon free agents. Echelon free agents on a damn list over the last 10 years. Truthfully. J.J. Watt came out of nowhere, bro. Do you understand? That is a meteoric shift. And again, doesn't matter. It's odds. It's things like that. There's a list of 4 or 5 teams, whatever it is. But the fact that they're even there shows that things are different, okay? That is a concrete thing that didn't used to happen and now does. Does it directly matter to between the lines? Not always. But again, it shows that the Cardinals are in a better position to pop than they have been in years past, okay? The one I saw before, talking about this was Christian Wilkins. The Cardinals were on a short list to land him. Not saying they will, but they were there out of 3 teams. Okay. So that's the different part. I talked about this yesterday as well. The reason why it feels different is because it quite literally is. We've seen factual actions take place, and it's not just theory-based and not just what ifs. Quite literally, it's different. So when you look at this Micah Parsons thing and you look at the Terry McLaurin thing, again, I'll get into both of them, individually in the next 2 segments. The Cardinals 100% could put a package together and trade for either of these players, and it wouldn't crater their future. Okay? That is a wild shift from where it used to be. Would it have ramifications for players that they drafted and may not be able to retain all of them? Potentially, especially with Micah Parsons, not necessarily Terry McLaurin. This is the time for them to do it. This year and next year is the time to do it because you've got guys on rookie scale contracts. 2 years from now, it's going to be banana sandwich. I mean, you're going to have to figure it out. You drafted too well, Monty. you're going to have to figure it out. You're going to have to choose between kids, potentially. And that would only narrow the margins if you were to bring in outside talent and have to pay them a whole lot of cheese. But they could. And it wouldn't fracture their future. They've got other picks. They've got all the money. Like, let's just take a beat and take a second and realize how different that is. That is factually different. I'm not speaking in platitudes anymore. I'm not giving out green ribbons like I was in 2023. The future is now. There's no more pacing for it. Now, obviously, with the younger guys, there's always going to be future pacing. But, like, as an organization with its rebirth and rebuild, it's no longer future pacing. I mean, we're cable guy. The future's now. And these are the things that when you're in the arena of relevancy, you're able to entertain. And you're going to be on lists for, landing spots. Like the Josh Sweat landing spot. It's like, oh, he was on the landing spot. Oh, he was a Cardinal. Oh, it's like, when was the last time that happened? Truly, when was the last time that happened? So when we're seeing these things and we're seeing this momentum, and maybe it's not perfect, maybe the offense isn't completely gelled yet, maybe there's question marks around Drew Petzing and, somewhat about Kyler Murray. There should be question marks about every single quarterback who doesn't have a Super Bowl. And under the age of 37, there are only 2 quarterbacks who have a Super Bowl ring who are starters. 2. Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. That's it. And then over the age of 37, Matthew Stafford and Aaron Rodgers. That means that there are 28 starting quarterbacks who have not won a Super Bowl. 28. So, of course, there's going to be question marks all the time. Some more severe than others. But when you look at the Cardinals roster and you look at their plight and their journey and where they're going into 2025, and you're looking at these big name guys that want out of their current location or whatever, they're posturing, obviously. Chances are you just throw this entire podcast into the dump because both of these guys are going to get deals. But it needs to be discussed because it's still up in the air. The Arizona Cardinals are 100% capable of trading for either of these players and not fracturing their future. They can. They shouldn't, but they can. The fact that they can is a big-ass deal from what it used to be. And I was the person, and, I'm going to just tease this, and I'll go into Micah Parsons. I'm not one to forget the segment, the show that I did early in the offseason of Marvin Harrison Jr. and a first-round pick and a package surrounding Marvin Harrison Jr. for Micah Parsons. I was in. If say they wanted to do that, I'd be like, yep, because it was before the draft. Okay. Everything would have been different. And just because Marvin Harrison Jr. wouldn't have been on the team, Micah Parsons would have been. And I'm not saying it would have been perfect. I'm not saying any of that. But I am the person who said that on this show. So I'm not like sweeping that under the rug and then backtracking now. A lot more information has come to light. A lot more things have concretely happened to lend me to think, no. G, no, Smith. G, no, REM. And C, no, man. No. And that's analysis. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Why the Cardinals should absolutely not trade for Micah Parsons, even though it could make them better. I'll explain why next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by our friends over at Monarch Money. So, Monarch Money is so many things wrapped into one app. And if you want to manage your money and make it feel easier, Monarch Money can help you. Whether you're growing your savings or planning for a big purchase, whatever it may be, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat, and it's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. And it's more than just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center where you can track all your accounts, investments, spending, all in one tidy little place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. I mean, for me, and I go to this, eating out was a thing for me. I enjoyed it. I love to cook, but sometimes after working 12 or 14 hours, like I don't want to go into that kitchen. So I'll get, I'll go out or I'll, pick up food or whatever it is. And, I started to cut back on that. And, Monarch Money balancing of it was able to teach me how I could allocate my funds elsewhere. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. Encino Man, fantastic movie. No We's in the Juice, man. Let's go get some ho-hos. So go to the YouTube channel, please. Search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Subscribe, man. Blowing past 4,000 now. Really getting some momentum. Check out the Cardinal Squad Show Tuesday and Thursday until the season starts. Me, Jameel Douglas, and Ben Garcia do an hour-long live show. I see some double dippers in there, so I appreciate you. Tell your friends. It's a completely different environment. The one driving the show. It's fun. I just get to sit back and talk Cardinals and talk crap and make people laugh. It's fun. It's absolutely fun. It would be fun to trade for Micah Parsons. Are you kidding me? He'd have to pick a new number. I wonder if Fitz would give him 11. Let's debate that instead of him actually becoming an Arizona Cardinal. Let's not. So the upside. Let's just do this. Micah Parsons is a top 4 defensive player in the league. I mean, okay, so if we were throwing corners in there, yeah, I would still say top 4. I put Aiden Hutchinson in front of him. I put, I don't know. I'm not doing a ranking thing here. He's a top 5 dude, okay, in all of professional football. And the beauty of his versatility in Nick Rallis's evil genius mind is they'd find the perfect spot for him in the defense. They'd find the perfect way to use him, okay? He would require a lot of cheese, and the Cardinals would be able to pay it. Okay, Michael Bidwell probably wouldn't, but they factually would be able to do it. It's a perfect time to restructure Kyler Murray's contract. It's just the right time. It would be the right time. So me politely arguing with myself, that would be the upside, and I think that's blatantly obvious. There's no downside, okay? I want to make that clear. There's no real, absolute downside. The Cardinals would be a better team with Micah Parsons. I think that's fair. But when you look at the ramifications, and this is splitting hairs, it's really turning into that. You've got Parrish Johnson Jr. you got to pay. You got Garrett Williams you've got to pay. You've got to figure out what you're doing with Jalen Thompson. You're probably going to have to bring in some sort of offensive lineman this offseason. You're going to have to restructure Kyler Murray's contract. So, that's just off the top of my head. And then you've got Marv. You got to figure out BJ Ojolari. Things are going to happen very, very quickly. Michael Wilson, very, very quickly. And the sum is greater. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at here looking at this team. Everybody has a role, and everybody at peak performance can be exemplary at their role, the guys I just named, the draft picks. So you trade for Micah Parsons, you have to give up at least 1 first rounder, or if you want to throw in Darius Robinson or BJ Ojolari and a first rounder, whatever it is, pay him all the money, okay, which the Cardinals very well can do. And remember, if they were to trade draft picks, they get the player in return. People forget that. Oh, no, they don't want to give them capital. You get a player. You get a top 5 player. So I don't really understand that math. But not only, obviously, this is the lazy thing that people say, oh, that's not Monty Ossenfort. Okay, fine. And true, but that's not a reason not to trade for Micah Parsons, okay? Great GMs adapt. Look at what Howie Roseman's done. Howie Roseman was on his way out. Les Snead was on his way out. Lest we forget. Come on, it's Friday. And they just shifted how they did business. Getting Sean McVay helped. But Howie Roseman was vilified for years out there in the Doug Peterson time, even when they won one. And they shifted course. The Arizona Cardinals absolutely can trade for Micah Parsons. They have the capital, they have the players, they have whatever it is. But what Monty Ossenfort has done over the last 3 drafts, 2 namely, obviously this one is very much TBD because they haven't played yet. They've got guys at premium tippy top positions who have a ceiling of perennial Pro Bowl. Garrett Williams, Paris Johnson Jr., Marvin Harrison Jr. specifically. It's like, it's like Sam Presti in OKC with Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, and James Harden. I'm not saying that that's what it's going to be, okay? But they went bingo, bango, bungo. And luckily for football and the Cardinals, they play in 3 completely different positions. So you could have your CB1, left tackle 1, and wide receiver 1 for the next 7 or 8 years. I'm taking that over Micah Parsons, who only played half the year last year, even though at his peak is Defensive Player of the Year. You don't have to have one All-Pro on the defense if you've got a bunch of Pro Bowlers. It's really about the floor and not about the ceiling. And this is something that is a microcosm of that. With all that said, he ain't getting traded, but let somebody else do it. Just like with Christian Wilkins, I'm not comparing the two, but just like with, Milton Williams, if it's too much, they're not going to do it. Instead of paying Milton the $100 million, I can't remember what the guarantee was, but it was a lot. Instead of paying him, they extended Trey McBride, they signed Josh Sweat, they signed Dalvin Tomlinson, they signed Calais Campbell. Take the Trey McBride out because that already happened. They signed those 3 dudes to solidify the front. Partnered with Darius Robinson, partnered with their draft picks, partnered with Dante Stills. Which would you rather have, 1 dude or 3? The whole is greater than the sum of his parts. And that's why you got to say no here. Terry McLaurin is more fascinating. You would think it'd be Micah Parsons. Terry McLaurin is more fascinating. And I'll explain why. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. This episode of Locked On Cardinals, 5-hour energy, baby. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-hour energy transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. So whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. So let's be honest. Sometimes on the course or off of it, you just need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized. I talk about this. Like when I was younger, when I was 20, or 21, 22, 23, I would have a couple beers in the morning. Just play. It's beautiful outside, whatever it is. Now I always opt for some sort of boost of my energy. And if you tell me grape, ginger, and lime is in a little 5-hour energy shot and an energy transfusion shot, sign me the hell up. Golf is about, good times with good people and good flavors, of course. So it's going to be your clubhouse go-to, man. Grape, ginger, lime, boom. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that is the number 5hourenergy.com. You can use my promo code LOCKEDONGolf to receive 20% off your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and can't be used with other promotions. The code is not good with subscription order. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion-flavored 5-hour energy shots today. YouTube channel, subscribe. Thanks. Cardinal Squad Show on the Locked On Cardinals YouTube channel, Tuesday and Thursday. The cadence after games this year will be Game Over. I will be going live. I know people have been pining for it. I will be going live for my full show, which will turn into my Monday show. And then immediately following that, I will be going live with Jameel and Ben, and we'll be doing another hour. So you'll be getting 90 minutes of live Cardinals talk immediately following games, hopefully with more wins than losses to discuss. Terry McLaurin would be more fun than Micah Parsons, in my opinion. Terry McLaurin is an Arizona Cardinal type player. This version of. He's a Monty guy. All he's done is put up 1,000-yard receiving on bad teams aside from last year and just eat. He had 13 touchdowns last year, which kind of ballooned especially his fantasy football relevance, but he and Jaden had something special over there. And he's the perfect type of receiver for the Arizona Cardinals to pair alongside Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride. That is a fact. It would make the Arizona Cardinals better. That is a fact. I think that's obvious. They absolutely should not trade for him as well. This one is trickier because he fits the mold of the Cardinals type of player between the ears. Not problem. Not raising any issues. Shows up, goes to work. And I'm not saying Micah Parsons does. I'm not saying that really, but Terry McLaurin he's like Mike Evans, dude. It's like Devontae Adams. He just shows up to work, man, and balls out. You put him next to Marvin Trey, this is a Super Bowl contending team. So while that sounds fantastic, and I don't even care about his age, truly, because so say he's going to be 30, okay, and you sign him to a 3-year deal, 2 years of a guaranteed opt-out after the second year, you front-load the guaranteed money into a signing bonus, and then, you've got a dude for 2 years to make a run before, you have that question on if he's 32, if he's, still capable of doing what he's done, and then you have an offensive powerhouse. That sounds amazing, right? This is something that the draft capital goes to that as a reason why I'm not exactly sure that it's the best idea. Because they're probably going to want a second-round pick, okay? That's something that I would not give up, even if you do get the player that I mentioned last segment. So I didn't forget what I said. And then giving him $30 million a year. Because listen, what the Cardinals would give him, I can almost guarantee you Washington's already offered him, and he said no. So now it's truly about the money, not about the fit. And that seems kind of a forceful way to do it from the Cardinals' perspective. It's like, well, for me, this offense is either going to work or it's not. They've got plenty of offensive firepower for it to work already. They just do. I would have had them much rather have them trade for George Pickens than trade for Terry McLaurin. George Pickens, 24, contract year, figure it out. It's worth a second-round pick flyer, third-round pick flyer, and then you see. And I know that he's more of a quote-unquote problem child than Terry McLaurin. Imagine being a wide receiver for the Steelers when I've been their quarterback. I can't be the Saints and Steelers quarterback. I know that. I'm working through it. Imagine being a Steelers wide receiver for the since Ben retired. Not for the faint of heart. That would have made me go insane too. I wouldn't have pile drove somebody like I was in WWE like he did, but yeah. But listen, it's it's close, okay? But it's still so far away that it's just not, it's not something that the Cardinals need to do. They're both nice to haves, not need to have, especially Terry McLaurin. Now, again, with all that said, both these guys are going to be back with their teams. I mean, it's just, come on. I will leave you with this. I've got a couple minutes left. I started with this. I'm going to end with this. The Cardinals shouldn't, but they absolutely can. Okay? Also, this is just another little light tap on the shoulder reminder. There's no drama in Arizona. There's no drama. So when you look around the league, and this isn't like new news that top name dudes and organizations are fighting about contracts or, aggressively discussing contracts. I want out. We'll pay you. Jerry Jones is going to pay Micah Parsons $2 billion on September 1st. Ha! I showed him. The Arizona Cardinals don't have these issues. Okay? There was a question about Budda Baker. And the thing a couple of years ago, he just wanted the guaranteed money up front and some elevators. The dude has been through hell with this organization. Okay? He deserved the guaranteed cheese. So instead of Budda Baker hitting the open market, they extended him. Nobody talked about it. Yep, Budda's coming back. Instead of James Conner hitting the open market, nope, they extended him. James is coming back. Instead of having a conversation about Trey McBride and holding out and all that stuff, nope, they extended him. He was the highest paid tight end in the league for like 35 seconds. Oh, brought in Josh Sweat. No, Dalvin. Calais. Cool. Let's go. Giddy up. Let's go play football. A little bit different. It's a little bit different. And I almost don't blame guys like Patrick Peterson for requesting out. He requested 2 trades, and then he did 1 apology at the Waste Management Open that year, which was a sham. But I almost don't that's not attacking Patrick Peterson. Like the avatar of a once all-pro dude in this organization that was just a Travis Sham mockery of a business. And then all of the people who have left and talked poorly about this team, that's where this shift lays. That's the actual factual thing that has changed about this organization. It's not theory-based. It's not rose-colored glasses. This organization is doing things differently. And while the Arizona Cardinals 100% could trade for Micah Parsons or Terry McLaurin without cratering the future of their draft capital or their money or their team. They don't need to, but they could. All the while, waters are calm. Waters are absolutely calm in Arizona, while other teams are dealing with issues that the Arizona Cardinals took as commonplace years past. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Remember, without you, there is no me. I'll talk to you Monday.